Morning, everybody. 14 a.m. August 7th. My lord, these markets. Oh my God. So apparently, tariffs, Russia and Putin, that Trump is going to talk. He did some curbs on chips. I'm trying to read like this market just went bonkers. Apple investing, I want to say $100 billion or $1 million in America is propelling Apple way past its expected move for the week. This market is really bonkers. All right. Now, news is what is going to move markets, right? So, this momentum back in the bull, this is like, I'd be very careful with this market today. Okay. Reason why we're going to go into the expected moves. We're almost at the expected move in the NASDAQ for the week. Okay. To the upside. To the upside. So, this is kind of crazy. Okay. We gapped down, sold off, right? And then we've had kind of 3 days where we filled the gap, kind of moved up a little bit, but sideways. And now we're back. Like, it's crazy. Okay? Now, again, I'm just saying we're quite had a nice move up. Now, it doesn't mean I'm saying short the heck out of the market. What I'm saying is we're coming up to expected moves for the week. Okay? And we'll get into it. But I have to not go all out short, but really, whenever this has happened, the last couple of weeks, and we've hit, the QQQ has hit the expected move of the week, or major stocks in the QQQ has hit multiple ones, the expected moves of the week, there's been pullbacks. So I don't want to get too crazy about it. I'm just gonna, you know, it's just crazy. This market's insane. It really is. It really is insane. All right. Now I know that's quite an open. All right. Now let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile, volume profile to find structure in the markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That all is my edge. All right. I also use Anchor VWAPs, my market internals, my bread and butter for the day. Okay. And the weekly expected move. Now, the weekly expected move, okay, just for context, it's where the option markets prices in moves for the week. Okay? 70% of the time, markets close within those ranges. They're ranges. Okay? And it's about the close for the week. Okay? You could go over it, and then sometimes it comes right back into the expected moves range. 70% of the time. Okay, so that's 30% of the time only does it go over them. Right? Most of the times it stays in them. Trust me, I've been seeing this now. Okay? Now, if you want to go get that indicator for free and put it on your charts, go to my Discord. Okay? It's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage. Click on the link, sign up. Go to the channel that has the weekly expected move in it, and you can add it to your Thinkorswim charts. Okay? I run it every weekend, and I got to re engage it every weekend. Okay? So you have to put this back on your chart every week. It's free for right now, okay? See the power of it. Okay? See the power of it. All right. And hopefully you sign up, you subscribe to my YouTube. All right? Give you the market story every day, leaders and laggards, okay, market news, economic calendar, and I give you long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and the ES futures. Yesterday, all I said was 232, 232, 232 in the Nasdaq, right? And that thing was played around for a good hour. For a good hour. Okay? So that thing was played with for an hour. And what was frustrating was you really didn't have a setup per se. That was frustrating because I was all about that level. And if you noticed the open yesterday, it was wicky. Wick up, wick down, wick up, wick down. It was just chaotic. Okay, it was very chaotic. And it was like, this is crazy price action. Until you started to move away from that level. Now, that level was an ultimate balance level in the NASDAQ. Ultimate balance is the most traded price of the month and the week. When they're combined, it becomes ultimate balance. The farther you go away from it, the bigger the move. Okay? So, the bigger the move. Okay? And that's what happened. And now it's exacerbated because of this news with chips and Putin and Russia and all these tariffs went into effect. So, it's kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts. So, why don't we get into the watch list here and see what's moving markets? Okay? Leading the pack. Ethereum up 4.16. Silver up 1.63. Bitcoins up 0.91. Russell's up 0.90. Nasdaq's up 0.73. Crude up 0.71. Gold up 0.60. ES up 0.60. Dow's up 0.46. 30-year bonds pretty much flat. All right. 10-year yield is pretty much flat. Dollar's flat. VIX is down 3.5% down to a 16. All right. Let's look at the Mag 7 Plus. Apple is a monster right now. All right. That's the leader right now, up 2.84%. 2.84%. Now, I told you about Coinbase has definitely been a lagger, and now that's up 2.85. Okay. Apple, though, I think they agreed to invest in America basically with Trump. Okay. And that's propelling the stock. All right. It's way over its expected move by $7. Now when you go way over the expected move, that's now markets didn't price that in. Okay. And that could even propel it farther when you go way over the expected move. I mean, it's way over. Okay. So now there's some chip stuff going on. Like I said, I read it and I don't fully trying to understand it. Okay, but it's basically propelling semis. And I saw some Taiwan semiconductor exemption. There was like I said, okay. So you got AMD up 2.12, Nvidia's up 1.38, Broadcom up 1.32. Those are semis right there. Okay, Google's up 0.61. All right. Now the laggard here, Amazon down 0.48. Eli Lilly is getting slammed. That's probably under its expected move to the downside, I would think. Um, Down 7%. Now, what I saw was they had, I think, a test that had underperformed Novo Nordisk's weight loss. So that's what happened. Now, the top sector stocks, let's look at them here. Snowflake's up 3.24. That's like cloud based. And Cat down. All right, that's not too much here to talk about here. Let's see my granular list here. Whoa. Celsius, I guess I think they reported earnings up 20.50%. Wow. Dutch Bros up 17.67. I think it's Viking Therapeutics. I could be wrong. Up 9.79. Datadog up 7.88. All right. DraftKings, they reported earnings. They're up 7.14%. DoorDash up almost 7%. I think that's Papa John's. I could be wrong. I think that is. I'm not sure. All right, that's what's up. Those are pretty up pretty nicely. Okay, Laggert, 40net. Ooh, 40net. That's a cybersecurity. down 21%. All right. I think this is Tandem Diabetes, down 20.57. Crocs, I think those are the shoes, down 16.78. Airbnb down 7%. So there you go there. There's some granular ones there. Okay, moving on. Here, two sectors. Two sectors. All right. So semis are leading up almost 2%. Followed by technology up a percent. It's just that just moves the market. Okay, and we'll get into the market internals recap because technology was a big leader yesterday. Okay, and I'll show you what why that's important. Okay, energy's up. I mean, everything's up. The only laggard is healthcare because of Eli Lilly. Okay, now moving on here. All right, economic calendar wise. Let's look at that. Okay. Now today, initial jobless claims at 8:30. Continuing jobless claims. All right, Fed Bostic speaking. Got some Fed speak today. The big one here, I'm hoping I'm not trading, is the 1 p.m. 30-year bond auction. Okay, I know that's not 2 stars here, but that's been moving the markets as of late. All right, and we just have Fed speak, right? So about 10 a.m., which is not the best timing. Now, these Feds sometimes haven't moved the market as much when they're speaking, but you never know what they're going to say. Excuse me a sec. That was a sneeze. I just had to let out. All right. Now, let's look at real quick earnings calendar and see. Hold on one sec. I don't know why I'm not getting that earnings calendar. What the heck? Oh boy. All right. Give me a sec here. I kind of messed that up here. All right, earnings calendar. I'm going to try to put it here. All right, and see if I can get this to work here. Maybe we get that here. Sorry about that. I fixed the Let me see here. Give me a sec here. Okay. Sorry about that. I fixed the workspace window. That shouldn't have been fixed yesterday. So, bottom line is, let's get into uh, Wednesday and Thursday. So you had IonQ. That's your quantum computers. Before the open, that's why Celsius, Eli Lilly. Oh, you see, Eli Lilly reported earnings. ConocoPhillips, Vistra Energy, Sony, and then after the close today, you have Trade Desk, Rocket Labs, SoundHound, Block, Atlassian. All right, Twilio. All right, sorry about that. I adjust the wrong charts, and that's going to be a problem. I adjusted those wrong charts. Give me a sec, folks. I just want to give you the right experience. All right. I apologize for that. I mean, maybe no one's even watching, so that I can adjust this. But I'm gonna have to adjust this on the fly here, and I apologize. Okay, I apologize because this is not supposed to be. This is supposed to be daily charts. Okay. So let me fix this. And like I said, I apologize. Let me just fix this because this otherwise I'm not going to be able to show you the daily charts, okay? So just bear with me while I'm fixing this, okay? It's not going to take that very long. apologize again. This is like not what I intended to do here. Just give me 1 second here. Very sorry. Almost done here. Like I said, I mistakenly um, did that. All right, I think we're done here. So I'll have to fix that later on. But we're back at the dailies. All right. And before I do this, okay, I'd like to show you the internals. Okay. So let me get those internals up here. Just to show you really quickly, give you a quick market internal recap here. And it's very simple. What moves our market is right here, Infotech. Okay, so XLK is 34%. Yes, 34% of the market cap weight in your S&P 500. It's a monster. Okay, so just think of this. 34% of the market was up over a percent yesterday. Financials was up. That's 14%. Right there you got, what is that? 48. Then you add another consumer discretionary, which your Tesla and Amazon was up another 1.78. That's almost like, what did I say? That's almost 48. That's almost 50, almost 60% of your market cap weight was up. Okay, now here's why that's important. Okay, look at healthcare, it was down a percent, but it didn't matter. Look at the equal weight. This white line represents equal. If every sector was not market cap weighted, look at that. It ended at 0. But that's not how our market moves. Okay? So these bars represent these sector weights. And it look at this squirreliness in the beginning. That's why I said it was like untradeable. And then it caught its footing. And look what happened. As the market cap stayed kind of strong, equal weight was dying. Okay? That's why it was an all out breakout, because of that. But it doesn't matter this morning. Okay? Now, let's go to the daily charts. All right, let's go to those dailies and just look. Now, this is what's important. Okay? This is what's really important. And I apologize for that earlier. Okay? Look at the expected move. Okay? Right there, 639 is your expected move to the upside. 639. We are currently at 636 right here. Hold on 1 sec. All right. So look what happened. Now that's what I'm saying. See how we've done in the SPY? The gap down, filled the gap from the lows, filled the gap to the close, and then see we just went over the previous day's high. So right here was kind of you were kind of slowly grinding up, and I was like, what are we gonna do here? We're either gonna go down or up, and we're going up. So we're at 636.44 right now. We are all the way up here. It's a gap up. Now where are you? You're in the middle of this big down day. That's where you are. in the middle of this balance range. So this could stall the market. Now look at all this trading here, and we're in the middle here. Keep that note. Expected move 639. Okay. Let's look at the Qs. I'm sorry, let's look at the futures. Just so you can get a nice view of futures. That's what I'm talking about. See this consolidation, and the market went all the way up into the middle of this consolidation. So it's very tricky here. This acts as a wall. Okay, very tricky. Now we're above the 90 MA daily and the 20-day simple moving average on futures. Like I said though, you just hit this consolidation. This should slow down the market. Should doesn't mean it has to. Okay, let's go to the Qs. Here's your Qs. Okay, here's yesterday. Same kind of look, right? A little stronger, but this is what I want you to pay attention to. Okay, the expected move for this week is 571.60. The market, let's give you the example here. Let me go to a 4-hour chart. You see where it's at? Right here, right now. It's at the weekly expected move. There's a little caution in this move. Okay? This just tells me, like I said, this is what the options market has priced in for the QQQ to the upside. The close on Friday was down here, this black line, 553. 553.88. You can see right here this bubble. 553.88 was the close on August 1st. This is what the options market's priced in right here. Pay attention. And if you want the indicator, like I said, join my Discord. Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, okay? That is crazy. We're at the expected move. The last time we went to the expected move, the market sold off. Okay? So, very important. All right, so that's your Qs. Okay? That's your Qs. Now let's look at futures. Like I said, see how we're in the middle of this consolidation right here? You usually don't rip through this, but we have to see. Okay? Now, triple headed monster today. We'll go over it. It just really hasn't been, it's just none of them are really doing much. Okay? They're just not. The yields are just in a range again after this drop. The dollar is made a move and then pushed back into this range. The VIX is back down. That's your fear gauge. Right? Okay, it just dropped off. This market's just nuts, dude. It really is. Really is nuts. Okay? Now, real quickly, I'm going to go over hourly charts. And I'm just going to reiterate those right here. Okay? It's all that matters. Let's go to hourly charts. Okay? And I'm just going to mark it up. Where the heck's my marker? Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. 63.36 was the key level yesterday. And the ES also played games with that level. Now check out this too. The anchored view up from this low was getting tested right here. Right at the market open. This 63 36, which I told you was the most traded price of the month, was what the Bulls and the Bears had to battle over. Well, tried to go lower, and that was all she wrote. And we went higher. Now, in the overnight, look, we poof, punched up again into this supply, and we're pulling back a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to look to see for pullbacks in these demand zones. Now, I'm going to be a little cautious, all right, with the expected move, especially in the NASDAQ. So this could actually do this, and then we get the sell-off. But I don't know. Okay, I really don't know. All right, NASDAQ. NASDAQ is relatively stronger. Okay, and that 232 was a monster. Now that 232 got played with, boy. Look, this is an hour from the open, and this thing was wicking all through it. Even the second hour here, right? Came all the way down to here. And remember, this 232 is ultimate balanced. It's the most traded price of the month and the week. Okay? So the most volume has transacted there. And I said in my pre-market, the move away from here is going to be big. And look what happened. That was the move in the real-time trading hours, and this is the move in the overnights. Okay? I showed you the QQQ has reached its expected move. And when I say that, it doesn't mean this market can't go higher eventually. But this market has just moved quite a bit. Okay? And real quickly, let's do some Fibonacci's on this, okay? From these all-time highs. Now, we're going to do the Fibonacci. Oop. Let's do that again. Right there. Go down to this low. And let's see the retracement. Well, yesterday here's the black yesterday session. Look what we did. We broke back over 50% retracement. Now remember what I said, 61.8 Fibonacci retracements. When you usually go over that, that's the last line of defense usually. And look, in the overnights we're over to 61%, 61.8. Generally odds favor of 100% retracement back to the all-time highs. Okay? Now, I'm going to get that off my chart now. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Okay. So, same thing. Remember, the Qs are over. The Qs, I'm expecting. I think if I'm really going to play with this expected move, what's happened of late, you get a rush into here in supply, and then it just ensues selling, and we could just go like this, and then eventually we could do this. I don't know. I really have to see. Okay, I really have to see. Okay, and that's your 1 hours. Okay, that's your 1 hours. Okay, we're gonna move on to I didn't even talk about the news. But I'm going to skip that. All right. I wasted your time with the other thing. I'm just going to go right into the market profile, volume profile. The news is already talked about. All right. And I might even shorten that up. I don't know. Maybe some people don't like me talking about the news. I'm not really sure their feelings on me talking about the news. I'm not sure if that even helps. I'm sure some people who like to hear it, but I'm not even sure. Let me know if that is something that you want me to keep doing. All right. I mainly do it for myself. So now, let's look at this ES in this volume profile, market profile. Okay. If I'm looking at a profile, This is complete. You got excess to the bottom, value area, and then you have excess to the top. Okay, let's round it out here. That is a balanced profile. The auction is complete. So based on a volume profile, I think this could either hang out here, right? Or it's time to go back to value and reset to maybe go higher. I don't know. Okay, but that's a completed auction. So if you have a balanced profile, generally, the move has been made. Like I said, this doesn't mean you can't do this. I'm not saying that. Okay? Okay. So we're gapping up. So the first level you're going to look at is 63.7950. That's your gap fill. Okay? And now we have a nice level here with your gap fill. I'm going to put a box here on this demand zone right there. That encompasses yesterday's most traded price, the close. Now another thing to note right here is we're about 90% net long in the overnight. Okay? And I want to show these to you as well. Look at the sessions, higher low, higher low, higher low. Now, if you got long here and you trailed stops, the only time that you would have been any danger was this little move to break that low, but then you got higher low, higher low. So, you could see the overnight sessions, real-time trading hour sessions. This is a very nice move from here, okay? And then you're overly net long in the overnight with the most traded price up here, okay? Separated by single prints. Another level you have to pay attention to is the 50% retracement of the overnight, which is 63.9550, which is this level here, which absolutely lines up with a demand zone. Okay. And then you have the overnight highs, which is up to a supply in here. All right. And that's the overnight VPOC. That's going to be important. Maybe this can maybe move the most traded price of the week, which is currently down here, up here today. That would be pretty bullish. Hasn't done it. I'll have to see the real-time trading hours. Okay. Now I'm going to break this out and we'll get into scenarios. Okay, so that's your overnight session, 30-minute bars. And what I'm going to concentrate on, there's a bunch of demand here. This is this big level here. We have to draw a demand, right? It's just a big level, 63.36. Okay, like I said, I don't think I'm going to be involved in that area because if we come back down that, the market's going to be weak. Okay, the market's going to be weak. So let's get into it. If you want to continue this bullish climb, okay, first order of business is you're gapping up, right? This is the most traded price of the overnight. That's longs. We're 90% net long. So, okay, what you could do here. Let's say we open up, we break the overnight highs, come back and test the overnight VPOC. That could be the move up. Okay. What I really think is probably going to happen is you push through the most traded price. That's going to cause this selling. You have inch single prints here. Okay, you're going to come to the 50% retracement of this move. You could also push off there. Okay, then you could fall back and touch and fill the gap. That also is demand in the most traded price of yesterday. That also could be a long. That would probably be the only places I'm interested in longing. Now, depending if the market doesn't get too weak. Remember, QQQ is at its expected move. Okay? I have to understand that any move higher is possible, but less likely. Okay? Now, shorts. I am liking that the longs are getting paid in the overnight. We're gapping up. It is crazy. Okay, that is pretty frothy little move. Now, 90% net long at the VPOC. I would love a move up, break the overnight highs into this supply. I would love the internals to not be very strong. For me to see some type of lower high that I could short into. Because if this gets some momentum, you're going to test the overnight VPOC. That's your 6407. These are longs, okay? Now we're about to break. You might even break it now. This could fall, all right? Right to the 50%, right to this area. Fill the gap. That might be it. However, really have to look at the overnight lows, 63 64s, okay? Because what if you get through this most traded price of yesterday? That's a very big level, 63.71, okay? That's your bull bear line. If you crack that and start accepting price and retest, all of this move from yesterday is in question. And you're going to go right down to 63.36, the most traded price of the month. And it could be a very nice move, and then we just balance off the rest of the day. Okay? We are in August. Seasonally bearish usually. I don't trust this move yet. Again, I'm going to really be laser focused and not try to be the expected move is reached. We can't go higher. I'm really have to zone myself in. Okay? But that is very possible that this could happen. Okay? VIX should rise, all that stuff. I want to see the market go up. That's my number one. Get more frothy. Okay? All right. Now, that's my short scenario on the ES. And we're going to move on. That was really it. All right? Let's go to the NASDAQ, okay? So here's our little NASDAQ. Well, it's not little, but look at this sucker. Right? Monster. Monster. Okay? Let's get right into it. Okay. All right. So, gap up. Let's talk about the levels. Of course, gap fill 23444 right there. The line's perfectly up with the demand zone. With lines perfectly up with the overnight lows, the close, and the most traded prices yesterday, which happens to be 23370. Okay? That is your last line of defense for the bulls. Okay, now, beautifully, right here, you have a demand zone at the 50% retracement of this move in the overnights with the demand zone. What's in that? You have the most traded price of the overnights. Just call it 23495. Okay. What else do we have? This is the only short activity, folks, in the overnights. That's it. All of this is long. Remember, the NASDAQ 100 is over its expected move for the week. Okay? You are 95% net long in the overnights. Okay? Very extended. Very, very extended. Okay? Now, we have supply and a naked VPOC. So I'm going to put this in here. Overnight highs, naked VPOC, and supply. Right up there. Okay? This is what I'm looking at in your NASDAQ. Now, monster level 232. I just got to put it here, but it's really not going to probably be in the cards for any type of long for me if we fall that far. Okay? So why don't we get right into scenarios here. I didn't even put that graphic up. I'm off my game today, boy. Okay. Let's look at it. All right, now. Let's see here. Let's go with longs because they're in control. But like I said, I'm very cautious long here. Okay. What could happen? Now, the VPOC is still here. Now, you do have some volume right here. So I have to talk about that as well. You could move up, try to come pull back into this volume and hold, and maybe go back up to this supply around 237. Okay. That's not the best long. Okay. Be honest with you. Okay. If we fall, and we correct into this area, that's your most traded price over the overnight. That's the man. That's your 50% retracement. You could get a move back up to the overnight highs. Maybe you just balance out here. Okay. These two are probably, you know, if the market internals are showing me that tech is still strong, yeah, this is definitely possible. Okay. If you make it all the way down to here, okay, and you go, oh boy, the market is going to be weak, most likely. Okay. The market is going to be weak, most likely. Yes, if you come down here, you could bounce, but I think if you did, you would probably only, you wouldn't go all the way up. Okay. As you can see in the Qs, I'm not like crazy about any long here. I'm not like this, ooh, this is amazing. Not really. Okay. Not really. I know it's overextended, but momentum can go, right? I'm not fighting momentum. If the internals show me, wow, tech is still that strong, but if they show me weakness, whoo, all right. Now, let's go to short side, okay? And this is kind of what I'm really going to be focusing on in trying to just, hopefully I get a setup and it's not just, doesn't give me a setup, okay? This is what I want to see. What's in my favor? We're at the weekly expected move in the Qs, okay? Apple's way over its expected move. All right, I didn't even go through the other stocks. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe. You know what? I'm not going to have time to do that. But all I care about is the QQQ. It's over its expected move. Okay? I know we're 90%, 95% net long in the overnight. I know longs have been getting paid. Okay? This is what I want to see. I want to see a push up, take the overnight out. This naked VPOC just means it's an untested most traded price of a day. That's what that signifies. Okay? Even if we go up to the close to 237s supply, I just want to see the market not be strong, get some lower highs, and you can lean into. If this is the high volume, this is a high volume node, not the most traded price. If you rip through that, you have very thin volume here. Okay, you can get cooking, move on down, pass to the 50% retracement and this demand zone. Now this is your most traded price. These are longs. Okay, if the market gets cooking and rips through here, retests it, you're going back to the overnight lows and to the settlement to close. This is your last defense for bulls. Your 23370. That's your most traded price of yesterday, which I would say are longs. If, okay, you take that out and find acceptance below, we're going back to 232. Believe it. Believe it. And if you lose 232, boy. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that we do all of that, but we could do a piece of it. It could just come down to here, bounce. Okay? That's what I'm looking for. So that's going to wrap up scenarios here. Now, just to mention, I'm trying out this week. I'm trying out this. This is Bookmap. I am going to try this out today and just see visual. Okay? I'm trying it out for a month, maybe 2 months. I just want to see because there's some, I use a footprint chart, okay? And I use market profile, volume profile, all that stuff, right? To see where delta is and all that stuff. This is just a different way to look at markets, okay? Basically, big red bubbles are big sell orders. Big green bubbles are large buy orders. I already know how to read all this. This is passive orders sitting in the book. Above us, below us, resting offers, resting bids. Okay, that's all good. All right. Now, what for me, sometimes in the footprint chart, I'll see a big delta, like right here. That's a pretty nice size delta right here. 284, 285. That's a pretty nice 6408s. And you can see that's been kind of holding the markets. Something like that, right? But sometimes when a market comes back, has a big order here and pulls back, it's hard to see as much as like aggression inside the footprint. It's hard to see it because here I'm going to see the order, a large buyer come in as we're moving up, right? In a footprint chart, because you have just net delta, you don't see it like this visually. You don't see visually, oh, okay, large buy order just came to support my entry. You don't really see that. Or to get in. I'm like, just like this, I don't know. And I see a big green bubble here, but my footprint chart might not show me that aggression as much. So I'm going to see. We'll see we'll see. I'm just going to test it, right? Probably sim trade with it. But anyway, long overdue here. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Okay. We have a plan. I pretty much like that plan. And the whole thing is QQQs that hit expected move. Okay. That's really what's on my radar. And I just want to see those internals not be strong when we go up. And that will be like, ooh, this is nice. Okay. And of course, all right. Of course, everybody, please join me every morning. I'll give you the market story, the economic calendar, the market news, all that jazz. All right. I just gave you the long and short tornadoes, long and short scenarios in the ES and the Nasdaq futures. Okay. It looks a little frothy to me, but I understand momentum. Okay, and momentum can just go on. They say like the market could be irrational longer than you can stay solvent. That's what they say. Okay. Now, everybody have a great day. If you want to join me, get the free indicator, the expected move, go to Confluence Trading, my Discord, sign up, go to the channel, go to the channel that says weekly expected move. Put on your charts. Trust me. You're going to be like this. Oh, it's over expected move. Wow. And then Friday, it closes underneath it. It's crazy. Okay. So we're a little frothy in the Qs. All right. So everybody have a great day. If I don't see you in my Discord, I'll see you tomorrow.